episode 8, I believe. We're really bad with math. But spooky room for Halloween. So if you're watching this on not Halloween, it's Halloween now. Congratulations! We actually don't have Shadow this time. He has some IRL stuff to do. He'll be back. So obviously he will be back into the enclosure soon. But we got me, we got Squishy, and then we also actually managed to drag our homie Ended. So now he gets to suffer with us. And we grabbed some stories from r/Let's Not Meet, and then we also, I don't know if there's anything else from that, but Halloween theme is the theme. That's spooky season, and these are creepy. So creepy or weird, but regardless, I just went for the theme of could be marked as very scary. And it's not always just about ghosts. Sometimes people are scary.
Mm-hmm. And actually,
yeah, especially women.
I didn't tell her this, but so I have one Reddit story, and then I have a spooky story of my own that I would like to share.
Oh, hell yeah. Let's get personal. Oh, this is going to be fun. All right. The first one I found, it actually does have 4 updates that are, everything on here is relatively lengthy. But it is from r/Let's Not Meet, and it's just titled Psycho Situationship Turned Stalker. So, let's see here. Meet Jane. I don't know much about Jane, except that she's from a small town and she moved here with her friends and her boyfriend for university. When I first met Jane at the pub, I thought she hated my guts. She always gave me nasty looks, and when my friends tried to approach her friends, she'd be rude to me. Jane is pretty, like very, very pretty. Like every guy in town has a thing for her, but Jane's boyfriend is insane, to say the least. There are regulars at the pub. I've seen them break up around 3 to 4 times. The waiter working at the pub, guy from my friend group, says he's noticed them break up a dozen more, but they always come back together. A couple of months back, I had just finished with the gym, and I had just showered with when my mom called. That was almost really bad. When my mom called and asked about this pub and how the food is. I told her the food's to die for, and she said that her and my stepdad were on their way there. I told them I would meet them there too because I was dying for some hot wings and a burger. We sit down, me and my dad just start drinking beer after beer, and in no time I have downed 0.5 pints of beer. I don't know how much that is. I'm just going to assume it's a decent amount. I don't measure in pints, I measure in cans. I don't know.
So like the Stein, like big beer cups.
Okay. Oof.
The equivalent to one of those, I believe, is a pint, or it's like one of those in a little bit.
Oh no. Have
you ever got like one of those like huge mugs at like a bar or something?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay,
like,
okay.
The huge think about this. The big like root beer mugs.
Oh god. All right, that's a lot of beer.
That's a pint.
Okay. So let's see. I was getting a little tipsy, but I kept pushing through. My dear friend, let's call her Tina, called and asked if I was down for a drink. I told her to come to the pub as I was already there and she's going to meet my folks. They planned on leaving soon so she and I can continue, and that's how it happened. My parents left and Tina and I continued drinking on our own. The pub was closing, so Tina decided to go to the bathroom. I walked with her inside to see if I can get another pint. We stumbled upon Jane. Jane started talking to Tina and I realized they know each other. We all sit down to comfort her as she was a crying mess. Her boyfriend and her were done for good. She revealed that he used to really abuse her mentally and physically. I felt bad for her, so when she rested on my shoulder, I just let her. Tomorrow night, I get a DM from her and she's apologizing about the trauma dumping. I tell her it's no biggie as we all need to vent sometimes, albeit I do that to my therapist, not strangers, but whatever. The therapist is a stranger I pay, I guess. We continue chatting, and she constantly goes between, I can't text you, and then texting me again, don't text me, and then text me first when I don't. Keep in mind, this was like 2 days since that interaction. One drunken night, she texted me to meet her. It was around 2 a.m. I had my little cousin over. That whole night, we watched movies, and he had just fallen asleep, so I declined her offer. I also feel a little bit weird for me to hang out with her completely sober while she can barely see. I don't know, just weird to me. The next day she sobered up and I agreed to meet with her for a hangout. We hung out for a while. She was fun to hang out with. I did like her and worry about her and her ex. Soon enough, her leech of an ex was in town and he was never really interested in uni, just being close to her. On one of our dates, she revealed to me that she realized she had feelings for me, and that's when she broke up with her ex, resulting in him physically attacking her. One day we had a date at her place, little study date. After we finished studying, we relaxed on the couch and even exchanging photos, my first and only time sending a nude, and then we hooked up. Now I'm a person who likes alone time, so sometimes I just want to chill at my place and not really be with anyone, and she did not like this idea. She started spamming me with calls saying how she should come over and we will chill, she will be silent, and I'd still be alone. In my opinion, that kind of defeats the idea of being alone, as I'm not alone. She threatened me that if I didn't pick up the phone, she'd never talk to me again. This is where I snapped. I told her her lukewarm at best manipulation tactics would not work on me and to not contact me again. She flipped out and came to my part of town, hanging out and waiting for me to come out. I told her, I begged her millions of times not to come to my house, but she simply said, nah, I'll pass, and came anyway. I literally felt so disrespected because all of a sudden I had no value in life. When she texted me, come out, I'm here, I texted her, nah, I'll pass, and stayed home. Now she's following me everywhere I go. It's been months. I'm dating the girl of my dreams, but that has not stopped her from being in my shadow. She learned my routine when I go to the gym, when I'm at practice, etc. She never fails to show up or drive past where I'm at. My stepbrother reviewed the security footage from our house and we counted her car driving past my house at least 14 times a day. I still get texts from her on the daily, even though she's blocked. She gets wasted and spams me with messages on WhatsApp, then she deletes. My girlfriend is absolutely livid with this chick as she would not leave me alone. I do not only fear for my life, but I have warned my friends that if I die, it would not be an accident. It would not be a Control-Alt-Delete of self. She's in my shadow. I constantly have to check my 6 to see if she's behind me. That is just the first post. There are 4 more updates.
That's wild.
That is wild. That's crazy.
Y'all have any thoughts? You want me to just go to the updates?
You gotta be a psycho-ass bitch to fucking do that shit.
Bro's gotta get a restraining order or something, dog. Like, that's crazy.
I don't even think a restraining order at that point wouldn't do anything. Because technically, restraining orders depend on, restraining order kind of will... Is OP a female or male? No, I'm confused.
OP is a male. This is a woman stalking him.
OP is a male? Okay. I thought it was for a female real quick. My bad.
This reiterates that women are scary.
Women are scary.
Female stalkers are fucking terrifying, dog.
It's like baby reindeer.
As a woman, women are scary. But okay, restraining orders, it depends on what is happening. I have a restraining order against someone back from middle school. He could not come in within 200 feet of me. That included in class, so he had to change his schedule so we wouldn't have interaction.
I'll be honest though, with the length she's going, she's gonna view it as just a piece of paper. Like,
that's what I'm saying, because it has a set length of how far you can go within said person that has a restraining order against you. Keep in mind, this kid rode the bus home with me.
Oof.
So he had to sit at the front of the bus when I had to sit at the back.
Yeah.
And that was borderline almost below 200 feet.
Yeah.
So depending on if OP does get a restraining order, depending on how far the length is, she'll still continue to do it. But let's be honest, driving past a house 14 times in a day?
That's a lot.
That's
fucking crazy, dude.
Borderline serial killer.
So y'all want to hear the updates now?
Yes.
Oh Lord. All right. So update 1 is 2 days after his initial post. So let's see here. So a lot has happened in 2 days. I couldn't update right away as I really needed to shut off as I had a huge exam today, and now I can finally let myself process without it causing any disturbances. We met again at my house. 2 days ago, I went to the pub with my friend Stan. He's a new friend of mine as he's a close friend of one of my best friends. My neighbor's best friend, Jake, was in Durban to visit his aunt, and me and Stan went to the pub as his friend, and my other best friend, Liam, there's so many friends, was having the closing shift at the pub. So we went and visited him and had a few drinks. She was there, and everyone was giving me these weird stares like I'd murdered their whole family. Finally, the shift manager, whom I'm close with, came to me. She laughingly told me that Jane got extremely drunk and talked about a man the whole night at the pub while sobbing. She then showed them a picture of me, and according to some waiters, she was throwing an entire tantrum because she loved me. She left her boyfriend because of me. Regardless, I brushed it off and had a fight with the player accusation because I'm not one. Anyway, Liam finished his shift and we get into my car. We drove to my house where my girlfriend had already arrived. My mom and her were in the kitchen making dinner. My stepbrother, younger brother, and stepdad were in the living room just talking, so I joined them with my friends. At one point, I was in the kitchen with my mom, girlfriend, and stepbrother. My mom asked me, "Who made the kitchen into a mess this morning?" My stepbrother said, the Jews, referring to me and my younger brother. We burst out laughing, so I didn't hear the doorbell. My stepdad did. He went to open the door. Jane was at the door. She had let herself in. She was standing in the living room yelling after me. We came out of the kitchen and we were just staring at her. She begged to talk to me. I just stared at her and told her that we already covered everything, but she continued begging me. My girlfriend pulled me aside and told me to just talk with her. Maybe it'll give her closure. Maybe she'll finally leave me alone. I took her to my backyard. She started apologizing for hurting me. She said I'm sorry like 15 times. I told her that she had nothing to apologize for, and I sadly cannot forgive manipulations that easily, and that she should really give up. She started blaming the alcohol on it and how she was drunk that night. I told her that she's been drunk every night for 9 months now since she arrived in this town, and that she's only known me for 6 of those 9 months. She tells me how she used to drink herself crazy back then because of me too. Here's where I snapped. I told her I just caught her in another one of her lies. She smirked and gave me this creepy look and said, "I love lying to you." The look she gave me sent shivers down my spine. My yard was dark. Her eyes just seemed demonic for a moment. She continuously was getting closer to me, and I froze. I couldn't step back. Not that she'd hurt me, as I'm 6'2" and 250 pounds, but a knife could do some damage. But Jane had another idea. She launched herself at me, locking her lips with mine. I pushed her off, yelling for her to stop, yelling no multiple times. I walked inside. I was mad. My girlfriend looked like she was about to beat her up. I looked at my stepdad and begged him to drive her home. They got her out of my house, and she was kicking and screaming, but then she refused my stepdad's car ride and decided to walk in the middle of the night. And whoever lives in South Africa knows how fucking stupid that idea is. Anyway, she got home safe. I woke up to texts on her WhatsApp that she had deleted from a phone number she had blocked me from, so I pray she's actually done with me this time because this is too much to handle. There's still 2 more updates.
This is fucking crazy. How does this change your perspective on women?
You know, I was scared before. Now I'm like, damn, I really can't go out and just fuck around, can I?
You cannot. Women are crazy.
Not with a psycho bitch like that. You gotta find one of those, like, you know, cutesy girl next door type bitch.
I don't know. I feel like that's almost worse though sometimes. I feel like the cutesy girls 9 times out of 10 always end up being the psycho girls.
That is, you gotta find yourself a depressed one.
Yeah, get an emotionally damaged one.
Yeah, get an emotionally damaged and traumatized one. They'll just sit in their room. They won't go nowhere. You don't gotta worry about shit.
No, we cry too much to go anywhere.
Literally, when I got together with Mason, I told him, look, I got baggage. You know I have baggage. You know damn well I'm not gonna leave my room. I ain't going anywhere other than working Talia's house. You don't gotta worry about me cheating. Like, none of that shit. I said, I'm gonna sit in my bed if I'm not at work, and I'm gonna be crying or playing games. That's all I'm doing.
Exactly. All right, I'm going to jump straight to the update because it's the fact that the final 2 updates are both relatively lengthy.
Oh, God.
All right, let's see.
Okay.
And let it be known that this is actually, like, not too long ago. This update comes from 11 days ago.
Oh.
So as much as I hoped I wouldn't ever have to update again, deep down I knew it wasn't true. For the past 3 months, until the 25th of September, my girlfriend and I, together with my younger brother, went to Germany for one of our relatives' weddings. Here, my girlfriend met my dad, my older brother who lives in the States, and overall in these 3 months, I had no worries about Jane, as well as no contact with her. Well, the 25th rolls around, the 3 of us land back in South Africa. My stepdad picked us up, and we went to my house for lunch. Then I drove my girlfriend back to her house. I was rather exhausted from the flight, so her and I took a nap at her place. Got up at around 7, she started getting ready for the night out. At 9, we sat in this one pub with 3 of my friends. My best friend snapped a picture of me, posting it on his story with the caption, "The boys back in town." Together with the bald eagle and burger emojis, I hate him. Well, not even 2 minutes later, Jane walks into the pub. We brushed it off as a coincidence as she does not follow him on Instagram, but we later realized that one of her friends does. We ignored her as we continued drinking. I don't know if she was staring towards us or not, as I specifically instructed everyone to not look at her direction. Overall, a nice fun night out. Fast forward to the 27th. My friends and I packed my truck as we planned to spend 2 days at Dragon Peaks, a mountain roughly 2 hours from town. I asked my girlfriend if she's willing to come, but she said she has plans with her girls, so she stayed in town. Well, my girlfriend went into town and into the pub we usually chill at. She sat behind, and she sat behind the bar as one of the girls works there, and they wanted to include everyone in the hangout. The girl working at the bar jokingly asked her, "You finally left your man and came crawling back to us?" To which my girlfriend replied with, "I hated him so much anyway, girl." This is paraphrasing of their conversation as they were joking and drinking. They kept joking about us breaking up, my girlfriend needing her friends again, but they didn't realize that Sam, one of Jane's friends, was there, listening to them. At around the same time, Jane texts me from one of her burners, and I know it's around the same time as I texted my girlfriend right away, and that's when she spotted Sam connecting the dots. Jane asked me to meet up for at least 15 minutes. Now that I don't have a girlfriend anymore, I asked her what she was talking about, and Jane sent me a text saying, "Aubrey is embarrassing you at the pub right now, telling everyone how much she hates you, how you're the worst person who have ever been born, and how you should go to hell." I thanked Jane for the heads up and told her that I will no longer be replying to her texts. She started maniacally texting me even more, begging me to meet for at least 15 minutes, and she'll get over me, that she will stop thinking about me, but how she needs to see me in person in order for her to fully move on. I told her I wasn't in town. She texted me something that made me fully want to get on a plane, move back to the States. She texted, "Where the fuck are you? I watched you having rugby practice this morning." This is where I just put my phone down and didn't respond. She went back to her usual texting me a ton of messages and then deleting them before I could see them. She even started calling me. I blocked her, and to no one's shock, an unknown number starts calling me. I block her again. I started getting phone calls from no caller ID. I knew it was her, and that's a way to bypass being blocked. I turned off my phone and texted Aubrey what happened from my friend's phone, telling her to contact me if something happened. On the 29th, I went back in town and changed my phone number. Now, on October 1st, I still haven't had any contact with Jane. My phone has been quiet, but I did see her car parked at the gym parking lot, so I didn't go to my usual gym today. Instead, I am paid for a 1 day of working out at a different gym. My plan is to fully change my gym and start avoiding the pub, just so she can move on. My family and friends say it's no fair to me to miss out on hanging with my friends at a place where I've been hanging out for 3 years, but I really see no other way out. I'll keep you guys updated if there's more to come. And we still got one more!
Hell yeah.
So here's my thing. Did him and his girlfriend ever talk about, like, what the fuck she was talking about? I'm assuming so.
I'm assuming they did talk, and I will say I don't think it's funny to ever joke about, like, breaking up with your partner, because I've had coworkers, like, try to joke of, like, oh, haha, you're gonna hate your husband, and I can never sit there and be like, oh, haha, you're probably right. No, I'm like, no, I love him. So I don't understand that mentality, but I guess, like, every girl's different.
I mean, I guess it's more of the fact that, like, what, like, how old are they? They're fucking early 20s?
Let me see. I don't think he ever put his age on here. They are in college, so I would say it's a solid estimate of, like, early 20s-ish. They can all drink, so they're above the age of 21.
Yeah.
Okay, but it is South Africa. They have
Africa,
that's yeah, it's age
True.
difference.
But if they're in uni,
they could be within like the 18 to like early 20s.
So they still have like a lot of life. They're young.
And I mean, like, let's be honest, like, as teenagers, we all joked around about stupid shit. But, like, as adults, we're obviously not going to make that kind of comment.
We say that like we're probably not in their rough ages, though, because we're in our 20s. We're over here acting like we're 30.
But, like, also think of it like this. People that usually, like, no offense for people who go to uni or college or anything, people that usually go to university still think they have, like, that, like, high school mentality. So they still act like immature adults.
That's fair.
They granted, us three, I can say we do act like immature adults.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yes.
I work construction. But, like, I'm a dumbass on the job site.
Exactly. But, like,
that's where you get your humor from. It makes more sense now.
But, like, you know, it's more of the fact of, despite age, either being in school or being out of school, you still have that, like, mentality of, oh, I'm still in school, I can dick around.
That's true.
So,
I don't know, hopefully they talked about that, because I do think that's, like, weird. But it's also, I would also say whoever's in the friend group that is connected to Jane, kick them out of the friend group! Be gone!
I don't think so. That Sam chick that's connected to Jane, I don't think she's in the friend group. I think she was just at the bar.
Okay, I'll say if she's associated with them, you are then for enabling a bad person.
I feel like at some point you gotta be like, even like with people in your own friend group, you gotta be like, damn, you're fucking crazy, sis. Like, you need to fucking, like, figure yourself out.
I'll say, like, a true friend who's, like, ready to fight would tell you you're in the wrong.
Yeah. There's, like, being obsessed with someone, and then there's fucking, like, absolutely just fucking, like, stalking, and, like, your entire life becomes them type person.
Yeah.
And that's at the point where it's like, you gotta step back and, like, rethink your morals and, like, what you want to do with yourself. Because that's crazy, dog. Like, that level of stalking is just insane.
Dude, people are nuts. And it's the fact that we still have one more update that worries me.
How long ago was this update?
This update was 3 days ago.
Oh.
Let's see
Still
here.
ongoing.
So, goddamn me if I thought I'd be updating y'all so soon. Oh boy, where do I even start with this one? I guess the best thing I should start with is that I brought this whole situation up with my therapist. I ended up with a psychiatrist and later a therapist in August of 2022 and February of 2023 for completely unrelated issues. The first thing he asked me was, how does it make me feel? I told him the whole situation made me feel extremely uncomfortable, and it brought back memories from when I was acting all crazy about someone, albeit I never went this far. We talked about a lot of parallels between what I've done in the past and what she's doing to me now, and we realized that Jane and I might be similar. Of course, my therapist didn't try to diagnose her or anything, but it's worth mentioning I am diagnosed with BPD, and after my parents' sudden divorce when I was 12, and very messed up relationship I was dragged and forced into with my teacher when I was 13. It has been sorted out. I'm not trying to bore you guys with backstory stuff. I thought it was just worth mentioning. And plus, I was told journaling is good. So I guess this is my version of it. For starters, and this isn't even the juicy part of the story, 2 days ago, after my younger brother, 17, and I finished our gym session, we went out to the pub and it was still the middle of the day. We didn't think anything of it. We ordered our drinks and food and we started talking. At first, it was the basic older-younger brother banter. Then we started gossiping about half of our families. Finally, we went to talk. Our talk went to Jane. My brother revealed to me that she had been sending him follow requests on Instagram for the past week or so, but he had been ignoring her altogether. We continued talking about her until, you guessed it, she just appeared at the pub with one of her friends. She sat on a table rather close to ours, so my brother and I decided to switch to our mom's native language, the beautiful and poetic Spanish. He and I continued rambling about her. I didn't even bat an eye on her, but every time I looked to my right, I could see her staring at us through the reflection of a nearby window. At one point, a guy from my class approached me and we started talking, and my brother excused himself to the bathroom. The bathroom of this pub is one main area with the sinks and two separate places for men and women to do their business. I didn't notice her, but she followed my brother into the bathroom. He went into the men's washroom, and when he came out, she was just standing near the sink, staring at him with her crazy eyes, as he said. He washed his hands, and she tried to make small talk with him. My brother, Lord bless his heart, being the literal copy of our mom, a sassy Cuban woman, just eyed Jane head to toe and said to her, "You're not getting that American passport through me, darling," and left her standing there. Although this might be funny,
God.
I did scold him to not do that again. But he said he's not listening to me.
Fucking boy.
Oh my god, that's awesome. Now the juicy part. This noon, I got a DM from a girl that I know from the pub. I opened her message, and it was her asking me if she'd seen Jane's Instagram story. I told her that I had no way of doing that as she was blocked everywhere. To which the girl apologized for being the one to show me this, and she sent me a screenshot of Jane's story. At first, I didn't see anything weird in it. It was just a mirror pic of her in of her in her bedroom. So I asked the girl to explain me what I'm looking at, and she just said to me, and I quote verbatim, "Look above her bed." And that's when I had a panic attack. I began to shake and hyperventilate. My stepdad noticed and helped me calm down with my stepbrother. They kept asking me what's wrong. I kept repeating, "She's crazy," over and over again. I remember through my tunneled vision, my stepbrother picking up my phone and just saying, "What the actual fuck?" And my dad looked at it. She had painted a huge canvas portrait of me. And some of you might say that I'm overreacting, that maybe I'm in the wrong, or maybe I'm the crazy one. But I know what I look like. And the guy in the portrait looks just like me. Black curly hair, high cheekbones, sharp jawline, same mustache and goatee comp. Are you just trying to... Listen, hold on. OP's trying to plug in some good looks right here. And I just want to take note of that. And the part that everyone is convinced it's me, as if it doesn't look like a literal picture of me, the eyes. I have heterochromia. My grandpa had it, and his grandpa had it, and for some reason, every 2 generations in my mom's side of the family, the second born always has heterochromatic eyes. My right eye is blue, my left eye is green. And as you can make it up by yourself, that's exactly the eye color combo the guy in the portrait had. This is where I feel the most conflicted. What do? My doubts about her initial story about her abusive ex are very, very high. I'm thinking about contacting him, getting his side of the story. I need to know what's going on, because as clear as it seems, as it's still so confusing to me, it still makes me panic every time I think about it. There are no further updates as of right now.
Jesus
That's
Christ.
fucking insane, dude.
That's
She made a whole ass
wild.
mural of him on her fucking ceiling. Like when that came up, I was thinking like, oh no, she has like a bunch of fucking pictures of him. She drew a fucking mural of him on her ceiling. That's fucking
wild.
insane.
That's wild.
See, I would contact the ex,
fuck?
because at first I'm all for support the victim. If someone comes to you and they say that they're being abused, yes, be that person. But since she's clearly been like switching up and going full end, I would contact the ex and be like, yo, what happened between y'all? Because if we have correlations right now,
Yo,
you both need to go to the cops.
Yo, why is your ex a
Personally,
psycho
I
fucking
probably-
bitch?
Me personally, I probably would have shot a bitch by now, but that's just me.
I want to know why OP hasn't gone to the cops yet. Like, I'm glad you told your therapist. Tell the authorities. Document
I feel like-
everything.
Why are you telling your therapist when you should be telling the authorities?
100% go to the
I
cops.
don't know. I feel like
Get a
as a
restraining
guy
order.
though, like sometimes it's hard for guys to go to like cops about that shit because it's like you're a fucking guy. You're not supposed to be scared. Like
Yeah.
That's
other
true.
way around, it's supposed to be like, yeah, you go to the fucking cops and like you tell someone about it. But like as a guy, if a chick's stalking you, then like you deal with it yourself, and that's just what it is.
I think they also might need a bigger prerequisite, in a sense of like, not to say that everything she's doing is huge. That's insane behavior. But I think what they need as a documentation is like physical evidence of him being harmed, a bruise, a video of him being attacked. Like, unfortunately, cops need the high-end, very high-end extreme thing to happen before they can be like, okay, yeah, let's put a restraining order on her.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know about like South African laws, but I'm pretty sure for the most part in the United States, like excessive harassment, like what she's doing, is justifiable for a restraining order. And then if she violates that restraining order, she can then be arrested for it.
Yeah.
And you already know she's going to violate it, so I would, like, everything needs to be documented.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
This just sounds like the Netflix documentary Baby Reindeer.
He can't document text or anything because, like he said in earlier updates, she deletes everything.
Well, and at this rate, I don't think he's been screenshotting anything. So if he were to go now, unfortunately, with
Well, if
like
it's
how the
through,
system
like-
works, it'd be bad.
If it's through like just regular text messages, even if she deletes them, you can go to your like your service provider, and they can pull up all of that information for you. Because like anything you send,
It's
message or
through
not, is
WhatsApp,
documented
though.
somewhere.
I'll say, can
I
WhatsApp
don't know about
recover that?
that, man. You might. I would assume so, because that data is saved somewhere usually.
I am
Yeah.
going to take a quick peek at OP's profile real quick and see if I can find their profile again. I had it pulled up earlier because granted, when I looked through their profile's wild. Mainly on the other subreddits they post about. Not just this. This is the only like creepy story they have. The rest of their profile is just about like sexual encounters with their girlfriend in public.
Oh,
That's wild.
interesting.
So hold on, I found their profile. Let me see. There is no recent update. So the one from 3 days ago is the most concurrent, and that's 3 days ago as of today.
Leg tracker, come on. Oh, there we go.
And is dying.
I'm
And just slowly
struggling.
dying. Oh, fuck.
Let's not meet. Yeah, I really hope he gets that figured out. Maybe we can come back to it in another episode if there's any more updates, but start going to the cops now. It's only gonna get worse, buddy.
Agreed. That's a mess.
Dude, that makes me freaked out. Like, I've had a situation where
the
I was
messy
stalked
list.
and, like, the stalker came to my town. They couldn't find my house. They were actually going to other people's houses, and it was a small town, so most of them were my family, going door to door asking if they knew me and where I lived. And so, thankfully, one of them was my cousin, and they contacted my parents saying, "Who's this guy looking for your daughter?" I was 13. This man was in his 20s in college.
That's fucking wild.
Cops were contacted, and he is no longer allowed in that town. He drove 2 hours to try to find me.
See, that's why you own a fucking firearm.
We have two. We have a small one and a big one.
Hey man, it's just
All I'm
stalkers
saying,
are a
dog,
wild
is-
situation.
I did wake up at like 3 a.m. this morning to wake Mason walking back into our bedroom with his 9mm in his hand.
Oh,
And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? I was half asleep. And he's like, I think someone's breaking into a car out in the parking lot. I don't know, but it's not our car, so I'm not too worried about it. I was like, what the fuck?
self-preservation.
Okay.
It wasn't our car.
No, you gotta keep that thing on you. I sleep with one fucking right next to me. Like, you gotta keep
It's
that
on
thing on you sometimes.
It's on the bedside table on his side. And until I can get a gun license, the small one will stay on his side as well.
That's fair. But I mean,
I got the 9 and I got the AR under the bed. We stay strapped to this bitch.
Nice.
I have my dog.
Nelly is vicious.
She's not, but she's big enough that it scares people.
Worst thing Duke will do is hump someone.
Nelly will punch you. That's all I got going
Duke's
for
a little
me.
trooper. Duke's a little
Duke
trooper.
is-
He will fuck someone
Duke
up.
is not. No, he won't. He'll fuck another dog
I have
up,
faith
but
in
he
him.
won't fuck someone up.
Oh
You're-
lord.
He's a little ankle biter. He'll like waddle on up and just bite someone's fucking Achilles.
He doesn't know. We never trained him how to like attack people.
You ain't gotta know. You just gotta get. You just gotta get in there.
He sees a new person. He sees a new person, and he's just like, "Oh my god, hi! I'm gonna hump your leg now."
That's valid. I guess. Dog logic.
It's valid.
I love this dog. Trust me, he's just a little special.
But with
Aw,
the
Dookie Duke.
not so much conclusion on this one, that does lead us to what you have found.
Yes. This one is kind of lengthy in itself. So, this one's from the same Reddit that she got her last one from, so r/let's not meet. This is wrong place, wrong time. So, oh my god.
Jump scare.
Jump scare. Okay, I've been thinking of sharing about this incident for a while now. I've told people that I know in person, but I want to get my story out there to help spread awareness about things like this in an effort to help put it further behind me. For some context, this happened to me. Duke, shut the fuck up. Anyways.
What the dog doing?
He's going. Anyways. For some context, this happened to me. 25, male to female, so trans person, trans female. Back in early April of this year. Back when I was pre-HRT and still had more masculine clothes. At the risk of sounding cliche, I never thought that something like what happened that evening could ever happen to me, but it did. And the part that still bothers me is what happened so close to where I live with my family. In fact, it was a mere 2 blocks away. Now on to the incident. There have been a few times in and out of the house where no one really feels, there's been a few times in our house, it says out, my bad, reading, anyways, where no one really feels like cooking dinner that night, so we either order out something together or we find our own food. That evening was one of those times. I was craving pizza, so after putting on my spring jacket and a pair of gloves, I left my house around 7:20 p.m. and started walking to the nearest Domino's. In case anyone asks, I can't drive, and it was only a 15-minute walk away. Partway there, I came across an old white car. I think it was either a Honda or a Ford that was parked up on the sidewalk. I was annoyed, but really didn't think about it, deciding to walk around the front of the car as to not walk onto the road. Unfortunately, readers, that's where I had unintentionally caught the wrong kind of attention. I had barely stepped a mere 10 feet away from where the car was when I suddenly heard 2 people calling out to me rather aggressively as I was readjusting my gloves. When I turned around, I saw 2 rather intimidating-looking dudes. The younger of the 2 approaching me, while the older one remained by the door of the building the car was parked in front of. Jesus Christ. I don't know much about the older guy, thug number 2, mainly that he was a big man with beard and a leather jacket, but I'll never forget the younger guy. Slightly taller than me, I'm 5'6", short hair, goatee, wearing sneakers, a ring, blue jeans, and a white muscle shirt. This guy was aggressive from the start, getting up in my space, immediately accusing me of breaking into his buddy's car. Thug number 2 interjected with something along the lines of, "You better not have," which indicated to me that it was his car that I had just walked around, and thus was being accused of breaking into. I'm doing my best to type out what happened next, but honestly everything was a blur. I remember trying to get a word in to plead my case, and thug number 1, so the younger dude, not even giving me the chance. I remember the anger in his eyes as he kept accusing me. Next thing I knew, I was on the ground, the asphalt of the road gashing my right elbow, having just been left hooked to my face. I remember screaming at him to leave me alone as he once again punched me, this time just above my hairline. I remember putting my gloved hand to my head, feeling something warm, pulling it away to reveal blood where his ring had connected. I had to scramble to pick up one. Hold on, I'm reading that. That just made my brain hurt a little bit. Pick up one of my breast forms that had fallen out of my pocket. My pocket bra and on the ground before I managed to
padding.
half stumble, half run. Oh, like the... Oh, okay.
Padding.
So padding. Okay. Before I managed to stumble, half stumble, half run away from the 2 thugs. They were jeering at me, saying that I better run. Looking back, I'm partially wishing that I had pulled out my phone to take a picture of my attackers, but I think subconsciously felt like doing that could have made it worse. That happened around 7:30 p.m. I managed to get as far away from the building as possible before sitting down in front of a nearby soccer field, calling my sister, 20 female, for help. She immediately told my stepdad, and they both got in his car and came to pick me up. We stopped at the Domino's that I was headed to for dinner, where they helped me get my pizza, which I didn't end up finishing that night, but I ate the rest the next day, along with napkins and a bag of ice for my injuries. After they dropped me off back home, my stepdad took my brother, 25 male, and headed over to the building to see if they had cameras to show what happened, while my sister was helping to sanitize my injuries. It was there I got some sense of clarity on what was happening. It turned out that building in question was a base for a local biker gang who had just happened to be associated with one of the most infamous gangs in North America. My stepdad and brother managed to talk to the members who were there, They later told me that the white car was gone and the two guys I described were nowhere to be found, where they claimed 4 things. Firstly, they claimed to not know who it was that attacked me, even though those thugs had walked out of their gang base and didn't know who I was when my stepdad showed them a picture he took of my inventories for evidence. Secondly, they claimed that they were in the midst of a wake for a friend they lost. Thirdly, apparently an hour before I had walked by their base, a crackhead was fiddling around with their car doors, so it was likely that when I walked past those 2 thugs, they thought that he had come back. Lastly, despite the clear fact that those thugs somehow knew I was there, they claimed that their cameras were broken and not in use. Initially, I was thinking of not doing anything about what happened and continuing on with my life. After my dad called to check on me after he heard about what happened, I was convinced to go to the police station at 9 o'clock to file a report. While we all had the feeling that it likely wouldn't go anywhere, as it does with most incidents of gang violence, especially with an infamous group involved, getting it on record for the police was still the right thing to do. Afterwards, the officer taking my report suggested I head to the ER to be safe, and I proceeded to wait 5 to 7 hours to be seen by a doctor. The whole way, I was trying to stay awake, worried about what would happen if I fell asleep after having taken 2 blows to the head. Thankfully, the doctors reassured me that I was going to be alright while he was putting 4 stitches into the wound where thug number 1 had hit me for the 2nd time. Eventually, I was sent home with instructions to be mindful of my stitches while I shower, which is what I immediately had as soon as I got home between 2:30 and 4:30 a.m. I'm very lucky that I didn't walk away from this with more serious trauma than I did. After that evening, it took me an entire week before I finally felt comfortable going outside. Even now, months later, despite that gang having long since moved their base, I still find myself reluctant to walk right past that building. And if I have to, I tend to walk on the other side of the road. I never saw thug number 1 or 2 again, though I heard rumors that they were punished by the gang for assaulting me when the gang was allegedly trying to be less violent. And honestly, I hope I never see them again. I'm a little shaky reminiscing on that evening while typing this out, but I wanted to get the story out there to help spread further awareness about gang violence.
Jesus. Oh, we lost End.
He's dead. He's
Dude.
dead.
Oh, End disappeared. Oh, he's back. Okay,
End
never
is
mind.
back.
But one thing I can say about that, Jesus Christ. 2, never, ever, regardless of your gender, I don't care if you're a man, you're a woman, doesn't matter. Don't go outside alone at night. Groups. Always.
Unless you got that thing on you, then you can go out.
Yeah, that's what I tell Bun, because sometimes she'll want to, take, night walks, and I'm like, no. Mm-mm. We live at the south side of the town that we live in. That's not gonna happen.
Like, as a woman, you don't walk out alone. I'm very sorry for what happened to OP, and, by no means am I trying to blame her for ever going through this, because there's no guarantee that even if she had friends or family with her, that this would have been a safe event regardless. But this just pushes a point, though, of if you're going outside and it's late at night, if you can have someone with you, have someone with you. Always have someone with you, or be on a call with somebody, or make sure they have your location. Always have measures and steps. I've walked home alone at night before in other places, but I made sure that I was on FaceTime, or I would fake a phone call, or people had my location 25/8. Oh, that's creepy. And just never go outside alone. Buddy system forever.
Keep a piece on you, keep that thing on you, and then you don't gotta worry about it.
And it's like, yeah, you want fists?
My internet is
I got
killing
this.
itself right now. No, for real. If you're a smaller guy, or even a girl, I highly recommend keeping something on you. Go get your license. Better to have it, not need it, then need it, not have it.
He has a point.
Well, it's like, for me, I
There
have
is
2
no
tasers and a lot of
bigger
sharp
deterrent.
objects.
I have a knife.
All I'm saying is there's no bigger deterrent than pulling out that fucking 9 on someone.
That's true,
That
but
is
it also
very true.
sounded like this was very quick and that she had next to no reaction time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even if she had anything on her, it's not like she'd be able to pull it out or anything.
Oof, that's just... Mm-mm.
Alrighty. Plum.
My internet
personal
died, so I
story?
didn't hear the ending of the story, but
She's okay. The guys allegedly got punished from what she heard, but she was just doing it to spread awareness. So
Yeah. Always be aware of your surroundings. Head on a swivel. Make sure you have safety everywhere you go. Even in daylight, like, I would just never be alone. If you can avoid it, don't be alone. Let's see. So, we have options for a personal story. We can stay on the topic of, like, let's not meet kind of things, of creepy people, or Dieter to paranormal.
mine's paranormal. So if you want to deter towards that too, that way we're kind of like on the same
Okay, that works.
ish
So,
thing.
for personal, hi y'all. We're no longer doing a Reddit story. This is our personal shit. Buckle up, I guess. So, like, I should just note, you don't have to believe in paranormal, you don't have to believe in ghosts. That is all people's personal prerogative. I'm not going to sit here and be like, ghosts are real because I saw one. I don't care. You don't have to believe it. It is what it is. You can think I'm schizophrenic for all I care. But growing up, I was deemed the kid who was always talking to people that weren't there. And it was beyond, like, the imaginary friend thing. I was talking to people, and if I relate it to my mother, she knew those people. They were alive at her age when she was my age, you know what I mean? And I've never met them, never seen them, didn't know their names, and I'm having conversations with dead people, basically. And she was like, my kid's fucking weird. And the biggest thing that kind of, like, led them to believe me, my first house that I grew up in, there was a little girl in that house. I don't think she was bad. She just scared the lights out of me because as a kid, seeing a dead kid, you're kind of like, that's weird. But the biggest thing was they started to believe me because I remember this and they remember a different standpoint. So for me, I was always sleeping in my mom's room. I always had to put, like, dolls on the other side of the bed because I would always tell them, like, she's in my bed. I can't sleep there. I want to sleep with you guys. So I'd always have, like, I would try to cover half of my bed. And there was a day that, now granted, prior to this event, my mom had noted apparently multiple nights, after I was, like, grown, she told me this, multiple nights when I was younger, she would wake up to hearing a little girl laughing and running up and down the hallway. She thought it was me, so she would lean up, be like, go to bed, it's early or late or whatever, and she'd lay back down and not think about it. But when this happened, I was like 6. I vividly remember a girl in a white dress coming up to me, tugging on me, like, to follow her, and I was freaked out. So I backed up onto my bed, and I kind of just, like, crawled up onto the bed and just sat there and was really freaked out, and she disappeared. And the whole house starts shaking because it's just like how kids are loud when they scream. This is blood-curdling, top of the lungs screaming like someone's injured. And so my parents, my mom and my uncle were there at the time. They thought it was me. They run into my room to figure out why I sound like I'm dying, and I am on my bed curled up in a ball with my hands over my ears, And after that, they were like, that wasn't my kid. that wasn't you. I'm freaked out. I slept in their room for the longest time. And that's like the most I remember from when I was little. But she followed me from house to house up until about like the age of 15. Like it was always, I would wake up and I would see her walk down the hallway. I would be sitting in bed if I stayed up too late at night. And she would literally just stand, like she would never come into my room, but she would stand at my doorway. And it wasn't just like a shadow figure. It wasn't like a silhouette or like your cliche ghosty figure. It was as clear as like we are right now. I could tell you every detail on her face, on her skin, how battered she looked, how muddy and gross her clothes were, the teddy bear that she always had with her. Like, there was like a real, alive person in front of me. And the final thing was I was freaked out. I had just seen her, and it was after my uncle had passed. And I was having a really hard time with that because we did, unfortunately, find his body. And I was not coping, obviously. It was a lot of nights of crying, and I saw her, and I just started sobbing and freaking out, and like I just talking to myself, if I can't do this, like you need to go away, please leave me alone. And the last thing that happened is my feet were like dangling near the edge of my bed. Something walked by, knocked my feet off the edge of my bed, and then I just hear, I'm sorry, like 3 times, and then it was silent. And I've never seen her since. I did go back to that house though, like years later before. People live in it now, my childhood home. But when it was vacant, we were allowed to go in it. In my room, nobody has been in this house, mind you, at that time. Nobody's been in there. We had torn up the carpet when I was a kid from the cats peeing on it, so like all the floor was cement. There was a dead rose in my windowsill in my bedroom. And I've not seen her since.
Damn.
Right?
What do you think about that?
I think that's a pretty spooky story.
I hope you stay up late at night and she'll come for you. She'll knock your feet off the bed and then apologize for it.
Oh no, not again.
Right for the grippers.
Not again.
That's why you don't sleep with your foot out of the blanket.
Grippers.
That's why you don't sleep with your dogs out. You gotta put those fuckers away.
Keep them under the blanket and you're safe.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Under the blanket.
Everyone knows if you throw the blankets over your entire body, the ghost or the killer cannot harm you. It's a law, okay?
It's a law. It's a law. That's fucking
I'm just gonna carry a
beautiful.
blanket everywhere I go, so if I'm ever like alone at night, I'll put the blanket on me and that'll be like my immortality shield. Be like, can't touch me. Got my blanket.
No, it's that Harry Potter shit, you know? The fucking
Oh, the
cloak of
invisible
invisibility.
cloak.
Throw that shit over yourself, you're invisible to them. They can't see you.
Are you using my blanket right now?
Yeah.
That's my minky.
Can you like do me
Don't
a favor?
look at
Squish?
me like that. What? What?
Blow Mason a kiss for me. Oh damn! I just
Babe,
fucking.
this is from End. He left. Alright. So I'll give you a kind of snippet of one, and then I'll give you a summary of another.
Okay.
So, snippet of one is kind of similar to yours. So, my mom knew I was a fucking dumbass kid, but she knew I was a weird kid. So did my dad. And reason being is I was maybe about 6, and I started telling them, "Hey, Grandpa Al's in my closet." Keep in mind, my Grandpa Al has been dead since I was 3 months old. He saw me once. Died 3 months later. He is still in said closet. He's in our closet. He chills there. He chillin'.
Why is your grandpa in the closet?
Your grandpa's
just-
seen a
it's where
lot
he
of
likes to
freaky
be.
stuff.
He's he's grumpy. He was, from what I heard from stories, he's a grumpy old man. He liked his solitude, so I'm thinking that's why. There was also there was a young girl and a young boy that would follow me from house to house. They haven't followed me here. One was named Kira, and I remember seeing her face very vividly. She, like, the right side of her face was just, like, from middle of the head, scooping under her eye and over, was just gone. And she was in, like, period clothing. And I would talk to her multiple times and stuff, because she would always be in the corner of my room. She's always in the corner, no matter how much I, like, asked her to move away from said corner, she would always be in the corner. And I eventually figured out that her dad had beaten her so bad that he bludgeoned so much into her skull that her skull got indented like that.
Ew.
And she was like 13. So she was young. And then there was always this little boy that would sleep in Duke's bed. So that's why Duke used to sleep a lot with me on my bed. And he was like 4 years old. And I never figured out his name or anything, but he would always lay in Duke's bed because he liked Duke. Duke obviously didn't know what the fuck was going on, so he would lay on my bed.
Well, like, dogs see that shit,
But
and I
that's-
am adamant on if my animals freak out for no reason and I can't see it, they see something, and I'm rolling with it.
Yeah. But that's like the snippet. The summary one is actually a story that Mason, Tom, and I can all say, because there's an old haunted mansion that's where we are. I'm not gonna disclose the name because that would give away my location. Here, hold on. I could type it. Hold on.
Oh,
So
that's near you guys?
Yes, it's literally like from where our old apartment was, 10-minute walk.
Oh, jeez.
So we went there when Tom came out here the first time. So was it October or November? November. So like last November we went, and we got a tour, and then we also got to do like an actual investigation. So this place was a home at first, then it turned into a funeral home and like a morgue, and then it's just now like a touristy spot. But also apparently some people rent a room out to do yoga in there.
That ghost yoga.
Ghost
That's one
yoga.
way to connect
yeah,
with your
brother.
inner chakra, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose. But when we went in there, I obviously was just like, I'm gonna feel shit, so I'm gonna bring my journal and a pen. I am not doing this tonight. I'm not gonna go in there. Like, I was going in mostly blind, like almost completely blind. I didn't really look up anything. Mason knew some stuff. Tom didn't know anything. I didn't really know anything. I just knew it was there. I knew what it was beforehand, and then just what it was after it was a home, and that's it. So we went in, and we did our tour, and like the immediate moment that we walked upstairs into the first room, I was like, I kind of like it in here. It's warm. It's nice. I really like it. And then we went into the parlor. Immediately felt horrible. Because the man of the house, like, keep in mind, this is like, what year is this built? I'm wearing the sweatshirt. Hold on. 1893. So this is back when, men didn't like women going into their private rooms, So keep in mind there was only maybe 3 women in our group, me and 2 other ladies. I immediately felt horrible. I didn't want to be in there. I was like, I smell cigars and I feel like I am getting choked. I do not want to be in here. So I walked to the room across. Felt slightly better, but the woman in there was just a little. She's and then we walked into this back bedroom, which was like the main bedroom of the house, and it was really nice at first. And then once we learned what was in there, there's a little boy in there that likes to stay in the crawl space that's on the side of the roof. And that's who we talked to most of the night, was him. And I'll get to that in a second. We went through everything else. We got into the what was it, baby? It wasn't the morgue. What was it? The one where we laid on the table? Embalming room. And we did the Estes method, and that was interesting. It's like, so we got to, so like the actual embalming tables.
Ew, yeah.
We got to lay on that while doing the Estes method.
No.
And then yeah. I know. We
Girly pop energy.
Anyways, girly pop energy. We went back upstairs to the top floor, and there was another room where like the maids and stuff were. And keep in mind, when they made this into a funeral home, they had the elevator attached. The elevator went from basement to top floor, and that's where they would like carry the bodies and stuff when it was a funeral home. Apparently, there's a ghost dog that likes to stay in the elevator. I love that. But we did the Estes method up there too, and then we went down into the basement, and I kind of freaked our tour guide out, because keep in mind, I didn't know anything really. I just knew what it was, and then what it was after. It was a home, and then that's it. So we went down there, and there's this little girl down here, and like, she doesn't really talk that much. Wrote down the name of my journal, and he was like, we know her by a name, but we don't know if that, like, it's actually her name. And they said Samantha, and that's what I wrote, Samantha or Sammy, in my book. And she was literally, because they have like a little casket, like a little like child casket down there. It's full of toys. There's a dollhouse and stuff. And she was standing right behind the dollhouse. And she was just chilling there. And then when we were done with the tour and stuff, and we got to the investigating part, Mason, Tom, and I immediately went back up to that room with the crawl space. We were in there for like an hour and a half talking to this little boy. We had a REM pod sitting like kind of almost outside the doorway. We had a cat ball inside the crawl space. And then we had another, Tom was holding an EMF thing. And when I tell you, like, you know how cat balls are. You have to physically almost, like, stomp your fucking foot for those things to actually, like, light up. And you know how REM pods are. You basically have to fucking grip that fucking thing in order for it to go off.
Yeah.
He kept messing with the cat ball. And whenever we were like, do you like the colors of the cat ball? He would touch the REM pod. And we kept asking him questions, and he would keep touching the REM pod or messing with the cat ball. And they told us prior that, like, the next house over, which was also, like, had a little girl that was over there. They're renovating it now, but the next house over, apparently, they liked to play with each other down in the ballroom. And we kept asking him questions about her and, like, him playing together and all that kind of stuff. He was very, very talkative. Any other room that we tried any of the other stuff in, barely really got anything. And then eventually we were like, okay, we're gonna go look at other things now. We'll be back soon. And he just touched the REM pod. And we were like, do you want us to leave the cat ball for you? And he touched the REM pod again. So we left the cat ball and the REM pod there. And we told the next person that was going to come in because they were walking down the hall. And we were like, he's really talkative. He likes talking. He likes the cars. He likes the cat ball. He likes the REM pod. He likes the colors. We figured out he was either 6 or 7. And we asked him, like, you know, if he liked the crawl space because it felt comfortable. And we got an answer out of that and stuff. It was really fun. I enjoyed it. There was a point, though, when we were doing the tour and we were up there and they opened the cupboard, like the little crawl space door. I thought I saw him, like, peeking his head from the crawl space. Like, just a tiny bit. Like, the crawl space wall was right here. He was just doing this. And then he kind of, like, moved back.
Huh.
I was like, oh my god, he's shy. I love it.
Oh my god.
But that's my little snippets and rambling.
Dude, we love ghost stories. We gotta go ghost hunting. I'd be so down. I love doing investigations. I've done a couple.
I still want to get this certain bear that does shit, but someone doesn't want it in the house because he thinks it's gonna go off in the middle of the night.
Yeah, that's...
There's a, like, there's a lot of, like, supposedly haunted locations around me. The most, like, daunting of which is a forest that's apparently, like, built over a native burial ground.
Anything
that I
built
really,
over a
really,
native
really want to
burial
go to.
ground is... Anything on a native burial ground is going to be haunted.
I will say, growing up in a native reservation, being native, I've done investigations in those grave sites. Be very careful with everything you do, okay? It's very, like, you have to be so respectable, so careful. I actually did, so if y'all ever watched history classes or listened at all, Wovoka is a very famous Native American person in history. Yeah, his grave is where I grew up. I have seen his gravesite multiple times. I have actually been on it because him and his wife are buried next to each other. And I went there one day to check on some of my family. And his wife's flower pot had blown over. So it's a gated area. I opened the gate, let myself in, and fixed it. I had my EMF not EMF. What's it called? The ghost box, spirit box. That's what I had that with me.
Yeah.
She did talk to me a little bit. So that was cool. I talked to
We really gotta
Lavoca's
go.
wife and
I
then
wanna
my
go
uncle.
somewhere now. I want to go somewhere now.
See, I want to go like because I have a percentage of native in my blood. Like my grandma's entire basement was like decorated with like native stuff. Like, one of my aunts, she painted like a native chieftain as like a fucking portrait, and like it's hung up down there. We have like fucking fuck, what's it called? It kind of looks like a dream catcher, but I don't think that's what it actually is. But there's just like so much like native shit in my grandma's basement. It wasn't even funny. Like it's just like the entire decorations down there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I really just want to fucking go like into the forest and just kind of like check it out. But like then again, paranormal shit just like does not happen to me ever. Even in places where like my
We gotta
friends
take
have
you
been like,
somewhere.
even in places where my friends have been like, oh yeah, no, we've had like really like bad encounters over here. Like shit just does not happen to me ever.
I gotta take you to the place that Mason, Tom, and I went to.
Dude, there's a lot of places I could take y'all to. The one place I will never go, though, respectfully, the Clown Motel. We're not going there.
Nope.
We're going.
Nope.
Nope.
It's not even like.
Okay, I do have 1 minute until someone's probably gonna try and take the headset off of me.
That is fair. So we will end the episode here. If you guys have spooky stuff and you want to tell us, I'm always down for that. And if you make it lengthy enough, we'll read it. I'm not against that. I don't know. But in honor of Halloween and October and Spooky Month, I believe next week's will be the same thing. And so yeah, we'll see you guys there. Bye bye.
Yeah. Bye bye.